What's up, everyone? You know what night it is. Wednesday night, off-centered with Dustin. The one more bite. I'm eating a bunch of broccoli right now, and this is my only time to eat dinner. So let's wait an extra minute to start the live stream while I have this last bite of broccoli. Sports card dad. I don't know if I got that right or not.
I don't know if it was long enough.
Yeah. Well, we're on minute 2 already of the stream. So anyway, man, great to see you again. Great to see everyone in the chat. It's going to be a nice discussion. We're going to rely on you guys because we have some news, but we don't have a guest tonight. So, yeah, man, let's say hi to a couple people and get to chatting. I definitely want to touch on the Saints and Bucks. That's my excitement for the week. But let's see who we have here. We got Troy in the house. First one in the comment section. Great to see you, Troy. Ryan McClanahan, great to see you as well. We will talk about tops later on. Brian Sherland, a.k.a. Helix Band. Brad, please control Dustin. He's going to be having some sour grapes tonight. Go Bucks. Don't mess with Brady. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe you were eating sour grapes and not broccoli.
Yeah, maybe, but I think I got it right.
Great to see you, Hoff Van Dam. If you're saying afternoon, I wonder where you're at. If you're here on the West Coast or somewhere even wester. Brian Ballart, best night of the week. What's going on, dude? Just excited about football season, man. There's not a single sport that compares to football for me. Like, it's the only sport that I can really get excited about. What about you? What's going on with you, Dustin?
Well, I got trapped in the airport. I told you a little bit about this. Yeah, we'll definitely talk about tops for sure. So, flying back from New Orleans, had a great trip in New Orleans outside of the game, obviously. But honestly, through 3 quarters of the game, it was great. It was just the last quarter where it just kind of fell apart. Hold on a second. I'm gonna talk about something else. Yeah, it's my kids that are barking. No, actually, I'll talk through it. Yeah, my oldest is getting home now, so the dog is reacting to that. So, yeah, basically at the airport, my flights got pushed back to where I was flying Frontier. There was not another flight. They pushed me back out to fly out Monday night at 9 p.m., get into Philly at midnight, and then lay over until 5:30 in the morning, and then fly to Raleigh from there. So I literally just kind of stranded in the airport. It was freezing in there too. I don't know what the story is. Actually, I tweeted, I know where all of our tax dollars are going, and it's to the airport electric bill because they have this thermostat at 40 degrees. It makes no sense.
Well, before the helicopter spots me, what airport is this? Is this New Orleans?
No, Philly. In Philly. Yeah, New Orleans is actually pretty good. They've done a lot of upgrades to that airport. Actually, one kind of, before we get into all the other stuff, they actually have on their toilets in there a rotating, instead of having to put the paper down, they actually have a rotating cover on it. You press a button and it turns, and then you sit down.
Dude, I see that. It's like what you would expect in Japan, in Tokyo,
incredible.
Right? Yeah. I've seen it. It looks like a very expensive addition to a toilet that only does something, that's not that hard to do yourself. But it looks like the toilet would cost another $800 per toilet for this little lining to come up and go around. And
the irony is it's in New Orleans, where literally there's parts of the city that still haven't been rebuilt after Katrina, going back to 2005. But we've got, marble bathrooms with fancy toilets. I don't know. I don't know what's going on there.
You focus. Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess it's you focus on the tourists first. Be don't go to the bad parts of the city that haven't been rebuilt, but welcome to New Orleans, where taking a dump is quite the experience.
I guess. Yeah. So outside of that, I'm just kind of getting recovered with sleep and everything, trying to get back into the groove. But all in all, pretty good. My oldest son is trying out for high school basketball, so he's doing all the workouts and stuff preseason. He plays varsity baseball. He's trying to do the dual sport. He's trying to be prime time Bo Jackson. So we'll see.
So be honest with us. What are the odds that he makes the team?
I think that he'll make it.
The school.
He's kind of like his dad. I'm basically just I'm a shooter, but I'm more of
you're comparing yourself to Steph Curry. You're basically saying
no, but you know how Klay Thompson scored 50 points on 9 dribbles or something. He had a game where he never dribbled the ball. That's kind of like me, and that's how he is too. Spot up shooter, basically just gets into the open spot and shoots. Does
the ball go in?
Not a lot of defense. Not a lot of I mean, I'm okay passer, I guess, but nothing crazy. And then I'm okay at dribbling, but I'm not the point guard by any stretch. So yeah, I think he's going to make it. I'm optimistic. I think he's going to make it.
There needs to be a player that just from the age of 6 is just focused on half court shots, and they get it down to the point where it's like 45% half court, and like no one's going to guard them that far out, and they just launch it from half court every time. And then that's all they do since they're 6 years old. They grow up and like, yep, this is my shot. Muscle memory, half court, half court, half court. And then that's they do all those
Steph Curry, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. And then what they do is they make a living paying for their college doing all of those contests where you have to hit a shot from half court to win like the Kia Optima or something. And then all of a sudden they're just winning cars all over the country. Anyway, shout out to AJ Rose, who will be in California after spending a couple of years in Japan on service duty for the U.S., I believe, unless I'm completely wrong on that, but that's how I'm piecing it together. So looking forward to meeting you in person, AJ. I know we've seen you in the chat. We've been just talking back and forth for a couple of years now. So great to see you. Let's see. Great to see you. Chris K, Mike C, Phoenix Rising 2430. Great to see you as well. Contender Sports Cards on Instagram. There's Michael Jordan in a Bulls jersey, much different than the PMG that we saw
in the Scottie Pippen jersey.
In the Scottie, not even a Scottie Pippen jersey.
Of all the shirts, like of all the jerseys, it's the Scottie Pippen Invitational or whatever.
A Scottie Pippen charity event jersey. I'm like,
interesting.
Man, like, could they? I mean, maybe they could have put him in like the Space Jam jersey. That would have been a bit closer to something real. But anyway, we'll get to that in a second. Definitely got to touch on the Saints and Bucks because that was a big deal. We won't spend much time there, but what did you think of the game? Now that you were in New Orleans, you experienced Philly airport.
Well,
what was the game?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't react well to it. I'd had a few adult beverages, and the first 3 quarters, it was just a defensive battle. Well, you probably watched it. I mean, it was 3-3 going into the 4th. It was just kind of one of those games that typically happens. The last time we played them, they didn't score any points at all. So it was a very low scoring game. And then kind of the scrum happened, and then it kind of fell apart from there. But honestly, like just looking back at it, the Saints had a lot of opportunities after the scrum, and they just kind of let it all unravel. The biggest one I think was Mark Ingram fumbling on the 10-yard line going in for the score. At that point, it was still 3-3. So if we go up 10-3 there, maybe it's a little bit different of a game, but it was like he fumbled on the 10. Jameis throws 2 picks. And then also he throws a nice deep ball to Chris Olave. Chris Olave going down to the ground, loses it. I don't know if he thought he was touched or whatever, but he was never touched. So it was like a 50-yard gain, but then it was a fumble and the Bucks have it. It was like everything that could go wrong possibly went wrong in the 4th quarter. So it's just one of those things. You just kind of chalk it up as like, it's football, it happens.
Yeah, and it's early in the season.
If it was week 17 or something, it would be worse. But
I think the moral of the story though is you do not trust Jameis Winston to win a game in the 4th quarter. You don't trust him to. He could, but you don't trust him to. You cross your fingers that he will, but he could throw a couple deep bombs, but you just don't trust him. And it's not like the Bucks had their whole roster. It's like half the offensive line was out. Chris Godwin, their star receiver, was out. Gronk didn't come back.
We didn't have the same with us. So we didn't have Alvin Kamara. That would have helped. I mean,
yeah.
But I hear you. I mean, but I think both sides had their full defensive units, and that's really what showed up. Like the Bucks defense looked great. Saints defense looked great. So, it is what it is.
Yeah, early in the season, I'm just happy that football is here. And I did not text Dustin, told you so, whatever. How about them Jameis Winston rookie cards? What are they going down to from $5 down to $3? So early in the season, we'll see. But anyway, happy to have my Bucks be 2-0. Okay, let's talk about a couple things. I know we never talk about baseball, but I got to say my one big baseball investment back in 2020 was actually Aaron Judge cards, and they have finally paid off this season after not paying off last season. And so I bought a bunch of them on CompC, just like the Topps Chrome updates, whatever. Flipped all of those, and then I had something like 6 or 8 of the Topps Chrome PSA 10s, and including a couple of refractors that I sold earlier in the season, the baseball season, and then I sold my last one a couple of weeks ago, but haven't really mentioned it. But someone tried to buy one of them on my slabs today, and I was like, holy crap, do I have another one? And I was looking through my cards, and I don't, and I'd forgotten to take down that listing. So I sold the same card on eBay early in August and saw that someone had tried to buy it on my slabs this morning, and I had to refund the seller and say, sorry that I don't have the card anymore. But guess who the buyer was? And I'll give you a hint. Memorabilia has been on the show.
Memorabilia and has been on the show. Oh, is it the Is it? No, because he wasn't on with us. I was just thinking that Powers guy, Powers Memorabilia.
Yeah. Was he not on with you? Was it just
me
and him?
It wasn't an off-centered. That was just one that you did yourself, I think.
That goes back then. Yeah. So
it's going back. Powers,
yeah. So I did say this. In the email, I said, dude, I have to apologize. I did not take that listing down, but what I would do is, just as a consolation, as an apology, I'm going to shout you out on Off-Centered. So Matt Powers Memorabilia, really nice guy.
I was wondering why he made a video about how much he hates you today.
Dude, all PR is good PR. I'll take the publicity. I'll take it. It's all engagement all engagement on the algorithm. But yeah, Matt Powers. So check his station out, and on Instagram. But if you're looking for memorabilia, definitely check him out. Really nice dude, very insightful. And I haven't seen much hobby content in the last year, but he was putting out some no, seriously, except for your stuff, but he's been putting out he was putting out some really good card content back in the day. So
yeah,
shout out to you, Matt. Sorry that I don't have that Aaron Judge card, but it actually is cool because now I'm hoping Aaron Judge does well, because even though I sold all the cards, it's kind of nice to see one of the people that I invested in when he was injured and out, when his prices were super low, actually come back and do really big things. So that was cool. Say, hey, kid, what's up, man? You're just about 2 miles away from me. Dustin, say something.
27 years in Japan. Wow. AJ, how are you feeling about coming back to the U.S.? Or do you come back often? I guess that would be the question. Are you back and forth, or are you in Japan most of the time? OBJ and Cole Beasley to the Bucks. Yeah, I'm sure that Tom can probably get anybody to show up there. I mean, he's shown that he can get players there, but.
Well, Cole Beasley signed. I'm literally looking it up right now to see if there's anything official on Odell Beckham. I wasn't sure if that was something breaking news.
Oh, did Cole Beasley sign with the Bucs?
Yeah, Cole Beasley signed earlier this week. Because
I missed that.
Because Mike Evans is going to be out.
Oh, okay.
Definitely excited for pumpkin spice. So AJ, keep us posted with what's going on as you're coming back here. But let's move on to
Tops.
The first top. Yeah, first topic is Tops. So describe that story as I make sure that Odell Beckham is not signed with the Bucs.
Yeah, I mean, basically the way that I understand it, Topps Chrome Baseball came out, and unfortunately without the main hits in the product. So the short printed, the Julio Rodriguez and some of the prospects that guys were looking for were not included in that product, which is obviously a huge problem for people that have bought hobby boxes or bought into breaks or whatever. The way that they said that they were going to remedy it, is how I understood it, is they're going to have silver packs with 2 cards in each silver pack that are going to go out to people that bought hobby boxes and I guess to LCSs and that sort of thing to kind of sort that out, and breakers, I would think. And they're going to be randomly put in these short printed cards. Are going to be randomly put in. I guess one question I have though is, define short print. When we talk, because it's not, the way I understand it, these are not numbered. Now, maybe I have this wrong. Maybe these are numbered cards, but if it's just SP, they're supposed to be short print, but then you have this debacle, will they be more motivated to have they already printed everything and now it's going out, or is it still printing? I guess I just don't really know how all of that works, to make people happy. Is it not going to be as short printed as maybe they wanted it to be because of this?
Okay. I remember, this is kind of on topic, but kind of not. Didn't Topps put out their print runs, or was Topps, because I don't follow baseball at all, but I remember, was it just one product where Topps had their print runs revealed?
Well, like Project 2020, which not really considered
it's like a special edition.
That was like a side project. They had print runs there, but I'm not sure. And maybe people in chat, maybe you would know the answer to this.
less than 250 in say, hey, kids' opinion. If we have any other definite.
I guess I just get kind of like, it's like with parallels. I don't know, like SP and SSP and SSSP. Like, what the hell are we talking about? I mean, if they're not numbered, I don't really know what to make of it.
And wouldn't that just change every year? Like short print in 2022 could be 3,000. Short print in 2016 is 150 without it even being numbered, because it's like, whatever, there's not that many people in the hobby, whatever. And now short print is what, just not 7 million?
Yeah, because it's all based on demand. So I guess, SP might be a way for them to kind of cover their own butt, because it's like, hey, short printed, it's relative. What is short print? I mean, in 1993, they had numbered cards to 50,000 that were short printed. I'm not even kidding. I have a card that's like a 93 Drew Bledsoe card, and on it says short print 1 of 50,000. It's not numbered like 43,000 out of 50,000, but it says 1 of 50,000, and that was considered a short print card in 1993. So it's kind of all relative. It's a disaster at a time, I feel like, when the hobby really needs good news on the business front, meaning like businesses delivering some really good value. Because right now it just kind of feels like new product is very expensive. Buying into breaks is very expensive. Singles have come down for certain things, but I mean, your overall experience for a new person coming in or someone getting back in, is it as good as it was when maybe a lot of people got back in 2018, 19, like kind of that, pandemic time? I don't know. Like, it's probably not, I mean, it's probably not as good, I would guess. So this is just kind of one of those things where they've got to get on top of it. It can't happen again next year. I think Fanatics kind of gets a pass this year because they just acquired Topps. The assumption is kind of, hey, look, this was already put in play. This thing was already put down, it was already going before Fanatics had a chance to touch this, is kind of what I'm hearing from community folks. But I mean, next year it can't happen, obviously. I mean, I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah. Okay. Well, for one, I saw this comment here by Brian, and we'll talk a bit about that, because we have the PMGs that just came out from Skybox that we could at least touch on. But in terms of this, well, it's funny because this
and is actually, before you start, the set that's coming up that I'm most excited about is non-sports. We'll get into that. But anyway,
okay.
Go ahead.
All right. So
for new product.
Okay. So it's funny because this comment right here, Fanatics must be furious with Topps right now for letting collectors out. Not good for their investment image. And you're 100% right. Assuming it's not Fanatics' fault, which you would imagine it's all Topps and whatever was in place beforehand. That's the assumption. But based on what we've heard, all the rumblings around breakers, and the distributors are going to get cut out, certain breakers are going to get allocation, other breakers, certain card shops are probably going to be rewarded with allocation. If you're Fanatics, you are only rewarding people that's making the hobby look good, and that is bringing people in and keeping them into the hobby. You're not going to reward people that are leaving a bad taste in collectors or investors or flippers or whatever's mouths, because then it's going to be this high turnover rate, and that's going to burn through all the marketing dollars and all the effort. So they're going to say, hey, you help build this with us, and we're going to help you. You help build this. So they should be super pissed. But I would imagine, at least my perspective is, this is Topps. It's not Fanatics. I don't feel that Fanatics has been involved enough for this to be something I could blame them on. But yes, next year, it's like, okay, now what? I mean, dude, how long does it take for you to really get your hands in the dirt here? So, not a good image. I guess the way they handled it, it was as good as they could have. I don't know what else they could have done. I mean, what else do you do? Is there like a better solution for having this happen? What you would have done differently?
I have no idea. That's why I'm not really opinionated one way or the other. I guess, if I had bought a bunch of it, I'd be pretty upset. I'd probably want all sorts of different things in return, but I don't have any skin in the game on this product, so it's not like, I could fire off like what I think should happen, but I have zero skin on this product. So it's kind of stupid for me to have an opinion one way or the other. It's such a disaster though. It's like, how do you really fix it for everybody? You probably can't, there's going to be some people that are happy with whatever they get, and some people that are not happy, but the reality is it going to stop people from buying Topps Chrome next year? No, it's
no.
not. People are going to buy it.
And honestly, like one thing you mentioned off the air is that Fanatics did own up to what happened, and they put out a statement. So they're not trying to back out of the mess. It's kind of like, hey, you know what? Mistakes do happen. I mean, you think of like the gas companies with the oil spills, and you think the PR disasters, like the kid at Disney that got eaten by an alligator. Like horrible stuff does happen. So it's going to happen with every company. It's just really, okay, how do you make it right, and how do you ensure that it doesn't happen again? Like that's really it. Just make sure, you know, it's gonna be fixed, and you're gonna take care of the people that were hurt, and that it doesn't get replicated, because there's gonna be systems and protocols in place to ensure that. So that I mean, what else can you ask for at this point?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be tricky too, because, you know, I'm just kind of like, as we were talking, I was just thinking about this. I know everything went downhill when I switched to the name. I agree, GD.
And real
stopped
quick,
eating and stopped eating on camera.
And GD, if you saw the first like 10 seconds of the video, I was waiting for Dustin to stop eating his plate of broccoli for us to actually go on live. So he was personal grazing cowing. He was grazing on broccoli.
I guess one thought on this too, and if I just think about going back, you know, I've been back in the sports card world for almost 5 years, but I kind of know how it works. And a lot of what the new product is driven by is the draft class and the hype coming into the new draft class. Here's the reality though, is that let's just use basketball for as an example. We're not always going to have Luka trade drafts. We're not always going to have Zion Ja drafts. It's extremely rare, frankly. There might be 4 or 5 years where we have very average drafts, but here's kind of the problem is now we're kind of in this zone where, you know, everything's so exciting. There's a new release. There's a new, you know, new products out. You know, we got to break this. We got to, you know, it's a $2,000 hobby box. Yeah, but what if the draft class sucks? Because at the end of the day, it comes back to how good are these players going to be? You know, you can have a gold prism numbered out of 10, but if the guy it doesn't do anything in the NBA or the NFL or whatever it is, it really doesn't matter, you know? So I think that's something that, you know, just has to be kind of recognized with new product is every year you can certainly prospect on certain players, but you also just have to understand that there are just lost draft classes, you know, to where if you look back NBA, NFL over time, there's a bunch of them where if you bought into a bunch of, I'm just going to pick a random year that I'm not looking back, but I don't know, 2005 or whatever, you know, like maybe nobody came out of that class at all. But yet people would be, you know, in today's world, they'd be buying $1,000 hobby box or, you know, whatever, buying a $300 break spot. So I don't, GD's going in on the eating. I'm not eating. All right. So
we can hear you digest, Dustin. It's disgusting.
My God.
I could hear the gases in your organs just go all over the place.
Let's not let GD take over the chat. All right, other people chime in.
I'm actually the one that controls what comments come up.
Yeah,
so
Brad, can we pick the other people, not just GD? Thank you.
Okay, everyone else, talk about how disgusting it is to see Dustin eat on camera.
So anyway, I think the point is that we're in kind of this hyper excitement mode where every year you're getting excited about certain draft class, certain, you know, whatever. But you know, that's just not how sports works. You know, that's not how it is. So I don't know if companies are going to adjust the checklist, you know, so that there's, I don't know, maybe there's more. I did see people that were upset too about, I believe it was Topps Chrome Baseball, but there was a lot of veteran autos in it. And I kind of wonder if that's part of the hedge to get people involved in a product where maybe you only have certain prospects that people are excited about. I don't know. I'm just kind of spitballing here. But if they're putting out veteran autos, it's like, oh, well, here's another hit. You know, you could get a Aaron Judge auto. That's cool. He just hit 60 homers. You know, I mean, I don't know. Like, I'm trying to figure it out. You know, I really wonder what they do in those, you know, these rooms, you know, these boardrooms. I would love to be in there in those meetings and just listen to them strategize on the checklist, you know.
Sure. I mean, look, if you know a weak draft class is coming, of course, anyone in whatever sport, in whatever round could turn into an all-star. But if there's no excitement based on what you anticipate that year, yeah, might as well throw in veteran, you know, low pop count or low print run veteran autos or jerseys or something. I mean, you got to do something to make sure the product sells. So I don't think that's too advanced of an idea. I think it's just common sense. Like, okay, No one's excited. What can we do to make them excited? Well, let's try this. Let's try this. Let's do this. I mean, you got to, like, some years you got to just be, some years are going to be easy, right? Some years it's going to be, Trevor Lawrence and whatever. And he's going to be the next Peyton Manning or Tom Brady or whatever. It doesn't matter if it's true or not. You just need people to feel that way, and so they buy the product up and get excited. And then he plays the first 5 games as a Jaguar and is 0-5 and is sacked 43 times and throws 19 picks. But up until that point, you're excited. And
it's kind of like Brad going to the bar. Like leading up, it's like, man, it's gonna be a great night. It's gonna be a really good night.
And then 8:30,
and then it's 0-5 and 5 picks, and it's time to go home.
I got martinis thrown in my face left and right. I got fake phone numbers. It's just a disaster. Okay, a couple things. Definitely want to talk about the cleaning issue with the Trevor Lawrence card, and we'll talk about that in a second.
No, Herbert.
Sorry, Justin Herbert. Yeah. However, there is something else, the what sets we're looking forward to, and that has to do with that Skybox metal, Champions set that came out. And it's like, I mean, it's not licensed, but it is based off of the metal PMGs that go for crazy amounts of money, and a lot of people consider it their grail card if it's Jordan or one of those players. And we were just discussing it literally right before the stream, because I didn't do too much research on this product. I just saw Card Porn had put a picture of the Michael Jordan on their Instagram, and I think the seller's asking over $400,000 for it. Just kind of throwing out a number. Rare Jordan PMG. The issue is that even though it is Michael Jordan, which is cool, he is wearing, in fact, let me see if I can pull up a picture of it. And let's just get your thoughts on this product, as well as, like, would you like this product for yourself? Is this just weird?
The thing that, what's funny? It kind of reminds me of a Leaf product. And the reason why I say that is because you have, some people are saying, it's not a basketball product. It's got a bunch of different stuff in it. There's skateboarding champions, there's snowboarding champions. Tiger Woods PMG is in here. You've got all sorts of different things in this, which I think is kind of cool. Like, I saw the Tiger Woods PMG, and I think it's kind of cool. Would I buy one? No, not. I mean, like right now, obviously not, because it just came out. If the price point was different or whatever, then maybe I look at it. But I think that the cards look nice, but at the same time, it is like it's a mixed bag of a bunch of different sports. Some people like that. Some people do not like it. I haven't seen the cards up close too. I mean, online, I don't think they look terrible.
No. I think that, the design is kind of like that jambalaya. That's like what it used to be. I mean, the design is proven. I think these designs are great. Like, that's a great card because it's nostalgic as well. It's just LeBron James wearing like some T-shirt he would wear on a Saturday morning, going to the YMCA to play a game of pickup.
I guess with this, I just kind of wonder, because PMGs are so popular, it's all the 90s basketball folks are all excited about PMGs, and it's, dominates the hobby talk. Are they going to overdo this, to where every year we've got a PMG product? I mean, hell, are they going to start releasing just like PMG only online products, where it's like, and it's like, is this thing going to get diluted to hell? I don't know.
You can't blame Upper Deck Skybox for doing this, because they see an opportunity. Hey, cards have blown up. We don't have the licensing. We do have Michael Jordan's license, and people know our name. People love our older products. PMGs are in the news all the time because they're breaking records. Let's put something out, because again, what's the cost of them putting this out versus how many they need to sell to actually see a profit? And I think because this is such a unique product with a lot of all-stars of different realms. Like, I just saw Tim Grover. I've heard Tim Grover's name. I've heard his, have you heard his podcast interviews? He used to train Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, and Dwayne Wade. I've
probably seen him, but I can't put a face to the name.
So I've heard his podcast, I think he's an author as well, but I've, really, like, I respect him based on what I've learned about him when he was training Jordan and Kobe and Dwayne Wade and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. Would I love to get that card? No, but it'd be cool. I would take it over a no-name athlete that doesn't have anything. Like, Bryson DeChambeau, I know who he is, right? He's a big name in golf. So I like the idea of saying, what can we put together so that someone might really be interested in basketball and football, but then they pull a Wayne Gretzky card and then they're like, oh, that's pretty cool. Maybe I'll look into some hockey, or let's see, I don't know, golf, or like, look at this, beach volleyball, or I don't know who Susan Tedeschi, but musician. Okay, Seth Everett.
Oh, I didn't realize there was musicians too. I thought it was just athletes. That's interesting.
So look,
there's a model. There's a model in there. Brad, are you in this set?
I mean, maybe it might take a couple years.
You turned it down. You turned it down.
Yeah, not enough money, man. It's it's unlicensed product, so they couldn't offer too much. But I like the idea of TV personality. I like the idea that they're getting creative with some of the cards. Look, if Joe Rogan was in here, I'd say Joe Rogan would have been a great one. Joe Rogan, PMG, if Jake Paul, Logan Paul, some of these guys that
I almost wish they would have broken it into 2 products, like have the culture people and then have the athletes separate. But
well, I will say it doesn't look like there's many pop culture people in here. There's a lot of tennis and whatever, MMA, baseball, basketball. There's a lot of, Allen Iverson, you see his name here. So there's mostly athletes. I like that idea of throwing in, and in fact, I would like this if Fanatics does this, where they have a basketball product, right? Let's just say they have a basketball product, but then they know they really want to promote something zero cool, and they have 2 packs of a box or whatever, where it's just random card. It's mystery. It's literally something from a different set, something from a different product, where you just know that each pack has 1 of them, or each box has 2 of them, and it's some way to introduce a collector to another type of collecting. I think it'd be cool personally if it's just 2 cards per box, something small but just enough, or like a bonus pack of something random. Like maybe that's the answer. You have 12 packs that you're buying in the box, and then 1 pack is like an introductory pack, and it's like 4 different products that they have that people might like, one of which, and then Google it and then maybe buy a product. But some way to introduce other avenues.
Because I think about too, like, don't you think that if they had done, let's just say it was Topps, if they had done, when Friends was red hot, or Seinfeld, and there was like a Jerry Seinfeld on-card auto from 1995, I think that stuff would be very expensive nowadays. I mean, some people might say like, that's a culture card. It's a, whatever. But I think that it would probably be very popular, especially if it also had like a relic from the show or something in the card. Like if they did it the same way they would a sports card, but it's Jerry Seinfeld or it's the Friends cast or whatever it is.
Well, you remember that card I showed you a long time ago, my Grail card, the card that I actually liked more than anything else, was that drawing of Bart Simpson.
I agree. I want that card too.
That's a great card. So there's a card. I'm going to pull it up just because you guys might not know it exists. But I saw this card back in 2020, and I said, this is a cool card. This is literally...
Shout out to Flipping Steve in the chat, and he is right. If there was a Vecna PMG from Stranger Things, I would be all over that product. You absolutely nailed it. Good to see Steve. Hope to catch up with you soon, buddy. And actually, while you're looking that up, I'll show my latest pickup on the Stranger Things bandwagon, covered by... They're green autos covered by green painter's tape, but it's Hopper, and then it's the the Duffer Brothers autos. Kind of tough to see, but these are the season 1 from 2018. They're numbered to 50. These 3, so pretty cool.
Very cool, and I can't see it because I'm looking at my thing, but I'm just gonna nod my head like I can. There we go. Nice.
All right, pretend like you care.
Oh, nice, man. I'm proud of you. Very good. Okay, let's see here. I can't pull up this picture that I really want because this looks like the coolest version of it, but I'm going to try. Hold on one second, because this is the type of stuff.
Douglas asked he just went straight to it. Brad, when are you dropping a video? I think it's about time. I know you're trying to be exclusive. You should just do one like every quarter.
Yeah, fall updates. Dude, honestly, I love the live streams because it's easy, it's fun. I don't have to do too much post-production, pre-production, but I hate editing. I hate that kind of work. I honestly do. So I don't know the next time. I don't know, but I will say I emailed a certain platform about a business proposal that would incentivize me to make videos on a regular basis while also doing something that I really want and kind of eliminating the pain points. And so it's definitely like a a win for me, a win for them, and a win for another party. And I don't know if they're going to be interested because we had initial talks, but it's a way for me to feel good about buying and selling or buying cards again, researching cards, making content, but not just spending hours doing post-production, because that's where I just kind of went crazy. And it didn't make sense to outsource because the videos don't make enough money to pay someone $200 a video to edit. So we'll see what happens. But I did get good news via a phone call right before, like around 4 o'clock today. So what that entails, I can't say because I actually signed an NDA regarding this a while back, but that will come out hopefully in the next 6 to 8 weeks. So we'll see. Okay, now let me show this card before I completely forget what we're doing. All right, so tell me that is not a cool card. This is limited to, I think, 400 or so, and it's the actual drawing from Matt Groening.
It's original art, essentially, you know.
Yeah.
Signed by, yes.
Yeah, see, that's not, yeah, there we go. So, I mean, it's literally there, and you see Gem in 10, auto grade, and then they're different. So some of them, let's see, the Homer Simpson one, everyone is different, but to me, that's as unique. Like, look at this one. The whole family, right? Like that's pretty
really cool.
And that's probably a one of one in terms of getting a drawing like that.
Because they're all different.
Right. Because they're all different. And because it's a cartoon drawn by the creator, you can't argue that. That is the Simpsons Grail card. But there could be a lot more of that. I could see that with South Park. I could see that with Family Guy. And I think they do have that with Family Guy and some others. But to me, I think that there's a lot of room for stuff like this.
Yeah, and to answer Billy's question, season 4 cards out, he's talking about Stranger Things cards, I believe. But that is the new product that I'm looking forward to. And it will come through Zero Cool Tops, essentially. But I like that because we'll know the print run on it, or I assume that we will. We'll probably know the print run on it because they've showed the print run on everything else. So you kind of get an idea of what's rare on it, what's not rare, you know. So, yeah, as far as new product goes, you know, that's the one I'm most excited about. Now, I'm still buying sports cards. It's just I'm just highly focused on this segment before or just in case pricing goes a little, you know, higher than I want to spend on it. I just want to go ahead and get it where I feel like the price point is good for me. So that's really kind of it.
Kardashian G-string RPA. I mean, that's not a bad investment. And then you could actually use it because you could rub it on your face. Not saying I would. Not saying I would. Just saying you could if you wanted to.
Oh, Jeff Walsh. Yeah, that's tomorrow's video. And I can't find your email. Where did you send it? So I know that you had cards to share. Did you send it through IG or through my email? If you can just resend that to me, whichever one, because I can't find it. I was looking for it actually while I was in the airport for 6 hours alone in the middle of the night. Couldn't find it.
And here's the thing. These younger kids would buy cards of TikTok stars like, oh my God, what are you doing? But at the same time, I don't blame them. I mean, these are the people that they follow, that they listen to, that they are entertained by. So a TikTok star to me is the same thing as an entertainer. They're a singer, they're a dancer, they're a musician. It's just someone that they are entertained by or informed by. Like, dude, there are authors. There's like Jordan Peterson. There's, Tim Ferriss. There are authors that I would have cards of. Tony Robbins, people that I've learned so much from that I owe a debt of gratitude to because of how much I've learned from, that I would want an autographed Tony Robbins card. And that could be the craziest thing in the world. But most of these athletes, all right, well, you played a little ball, you played for 3 years on my team, and then you got traded, and then I don't hear of you again. That's not that cool.
Yeah, and I think too, athletes have so much pressure on them to be role models, and frankly, like a lot of them they didn't sign up for that part, and they're not role models. You know what I mean?
Charles Barkley said that once. Remember?
So yeah, I mean, I think that obviously we look up to our hero athletes, but there's also a lot of hero other folks that would be great to partake in, and that's kind of what cards are supposed to be, that connector. So I agree. I hope that it expands out to all these different things.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So
Jeff, send me real quick. Jeff, can you please email me the personalfinance@gmail.com? I still haven't switched over to sports card dad email. So the personalfinance@gmail.com, because I can't find it in Messenger.
And someone out there, please claim sportscarddad@gmail.com so you could then resell to Dustin at a markup. Well, it's going to be me. I'm opening another tab right now. New accounts, new Gmail accounts, Sports Card Dad, the Sports Card Dad.
Yeah.
Why does
Brad own my logo and everything now? I don't get it.
So what's it worth to you, Dustin? Okay.
Yeah, Ricardo, that will be every Friday. That video will be out on Friday as well, the ComC one. Yep.
One thing, Maximus, on this right here, first year select. The funny thing that about you mentioning that is there's a guy I met at a cafe that I go to a lot here in West Hollywood, and I see him here at the cafe most mornings. And so he's usually on the phone talking to someone, talking business. And I finally was like, hey man, I see you here all the time. What's your name? We started talking, and he actually is a big Kevin Durant fan, but has also hung out with him because he owns a cannabis business, a pretty big cannabis business here in LA. And so he's done collaborations with AB and has hung out with KD because I think KD's an investor in that kind of thing. And he's like, oh, I love KD. I respect him so much. But I actually went to the cafe today with a Kevin Durant first year select PSA 9 because I have several of them. And I think I paid $12 for the card and $15 to grade. So I might be $27 in. And I just gifted it to him. And he was so blown away by it. He's like, oh my God, like this is insane. Thank you so much. Like, I don't know if he thought it was worth a lot of money or not. I was like, dude, don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. I have several of them, but it was cool just to see someone light up so much over getting a $27 card of an athlete that he really likes and respects. And it's like, dude, you never know. Someone that's not in cards, you give them a slab of their favorite athlete, and that might make their day.
It's a good point. People that are not in this at all, I've done the same thing where you show them a card in a slab and they look at it like it's like from another planet. They're like, wow, what is that case? This is so fancy. It's in like a hard case and everything. Like it's got to be important. Yeah.
I mean, honestly, it's not a bad idea just to give away 5s and 6s and just cool cards, because the number means nothing to him. Like, so I gave him a 9, I had a 10, but I'm like, if I had an 8, I would have given him an 8 because he wouldn't have even read the grade. He wouldn't have known. It's just the gift. It's the gesture. So I'm like, it's one of those things where I think it's cool because you see how people not in the hobby that do love sports, or like if you run into a Stranger Things fan and you had a card of Stranger Things in a slab and you gave it to them, and it's a cheap card, but they'd be like, oh my God, this is the coolest thing in the world. Thank you so much. So, because like a slab really is kind of like a plaque in a way, so it's like it's a big display piece that you don't really know what it's worth, but it does look really professional. Okay.
Let's move over to cleaning cards because we were on that.
Yes. Cleaning cards. And Michael, kind of, but not really.
Yeah. We're still pending.
Pending, yes. Okay, so cleaning cards, tell us the story, and then let's break it down and see who is right and wrong.
So if I understand this correctly, there was an expensive Justin Herbert card that recently sold, and it had what looked to be a mark on it. In the actual, I guess, in the IG post or whatever, there was mention of a stain. Okay, so the stain was removed. Now, I know that there are card cleaners out there. And then look, I made a video on it. In other types of collectibles, whether we're talking about comic books or art or, basically like all the other ones. Can't say all because I think coins, there might be an issue with coins. But essentially, it's okay. Like in comic books, you can press and clean a comic book. You can do all sorts of stuff to comic books outside of like touching it up with paint, whatever that's then considered restored. But I thought this was just an interesting debate. It's come up recently because there was a big sale attached to it and it was public. And then publicly there was also claim of, oh, we helped clean this thing, so it like all kind of came together where it was like, okay, so, is that okay? Is it not okay? And what was interesting too, is the debate is all over the place on it. There's some people that think like, hey, if you touch it at all, if you, wipe it down with a microfiber cloth or whatever, then you're altering it. There's a lot of people that were like, that's crazy. You can wipe down a card, so the opinions on it are really all over the place. For me personally, it's like, if you're fixing corners and different things, and, I think that's really kind of a gray area that's, probably leaning towards an alteration, but wiping it down, I don't know too. A lot of people are like, hey, if you're using a solution, a chemical, what happens if down the road that chemical bubbles up or it's acidic, or something, and, it destroys the card, but maybe not right now, but down the road. I think those are all good questions, But it's like, how do you, I guess my take is how do you police this sort of thing, especially if you're a grading company? How are you going to do it unless you have something in your terms of service that says, if you, I don't know, if you send us a card that is clean, but the thing is if they sense that there's something wrong with it, then they won't grade it or they'll call it altered anyway. So I don't really know what would change. So I guess I don't know a good way. I don't really see how you would stop anything like this from happening that you wouldn't already be doing. I saw a question about tag grading, computerized grading. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's some sort of computerized grading that helps. I know PSA's also got GemMint, to authenticate. I think I'm saying that right. GenMint, maybe, I don't know. They added that technology. They bought that company. I know that companies are looking into different things like that, but I don't know. I mean, but what's funny is there's definitely a split when you get people's opinions on it. It's not like it's 95% are like, nah, I don't like it. But there's definitely a split in what people think. I've never really, outside of like people do, like wipe down dust or something off of a card, I've never done anything. I've never used a service for it. So I don't know how I could really have some amazing take on it because I don't have any experience with any sort of cleaning, outside of what I just, shared as far as what I know about what happened.
Okay. That was quite long-winded.
The other part of it too is Nat Turner had questioned in that post, like, what are you doing to the cards? So that also brought up kind of like all right, PSA is aware of this. Now what?
Yeah. And guys, I'm looking on the floor because there are like 2 mosquitoes that are hovering around my ankles. And I thought it's California and I wouldn't have to deal with that. But then I had this lotion. I put this lotion on my ankles because I thought that would help, keep them away. And it's not working. Anyway, cleaning cards. I mean, I'd love to see, in the chat, the responses here. I think to me, it's just, it's a way to, I mean, like cleaning just means removing crap. To me, it's not like it's removing damage. It's removing things. I guess if it's a chemical, if it's water, it doesn't really matter as long as it's the removal of dirt. And then, yes, the long-term effects, if 20 years down the road, the card starts to deteriorate because of the chemical, that is an issue. To me, it's just one of those things where I don't really see the issue in it. As long as you're not trimming, like you're not altering it,
right.
You're removing something additional. But like, for example, what if there was a dent in the card? And you know how like you have a dent in a car and you have one of those things that could remove the dents, right? Now, what if there was a way not to fill the dents, but to actually somehow repair a dent by just pulling it out, right? Like let's hypothetically, I wouldn't have a problem with that personally, but I don't know. I guess I just don't get too detailed or too like picky about that kind of stuff. I think it's just you remove dirt. You're like, if a corner is a bit soft and I had a card to go into grade, I would try and push it down with my thumb and I'm just try and make it slightly straighter. I don't see it as like, I don't know. To me, it's just not something I really think too much about as like, oh my God, I flattened the corner so that now it's smoother, or now that it's, sharper versus soft. I don't think of it. But then again, the cards that I was involved in were, hundreds of dollars, when actually tens of dollars when grading. So would I feel the same way around like a $50,000 or $100,000 card? I think I would, but you never know.
Yeah, I agree. It's a really tough one. It is tough. And I think that there's kind of hobby purists that will say like, hey, I want it exactly the way that it came from the manufacturer or whatever, exactly how it's been over time, regardless of, what anything. I don't want it messed with, I just want it in its original state.
So if it's that, if it's that debated, but yet so divided, in terms of the response, I don't think there's enough for people to really have a strong stance, because it's like, okay, what do you want? Some people want to think cleaned means has to be a microfiber and just a bit of water, or just the moisture of your breath to be able to remove a little bit of fingerprints, and others are like, hey, there's no limits to cleaning. It's just as long as it's not altering by the grader's standpoint, by their protocols or like their guidelines, it's fair game. I mean, if PSA has a problem with it, then right, we look for chemicals such as whatever this in our grading, and we consider that altering. If PSA or BGS or SGC or anyone else or tag says these are chemicals that we consider altering, then that's one thing. But then what people would do is they'd look for the grading company that does not have that there, or they would clean with a different chemical, or you know what I mean?
Yeah. To answer Judson's question, do they clean fine art vintage books? For vintage comic books, yes. I don't know if that's what you meant by books, but comic books, yeah, it's not like it's modern. I mean, you're going back to Silver Age, Golden Age comic books that look rough, and then they press and clean them, and they look way better. So, and like, I mean, it literally can kick up the grade from like, you know, a CGC 3 to a 6 or a 7. I mean, there's huge upgrade. You know, there's a lot that can be gained, you know, so to speak. And then the same with fine art. Actually, I did a video, Heritage Auctions, and I put it in my video. There was an article where they had a painting that was dingy. It had a yellow tint to it, and it was an expensive art piece. They suggested it be cleaned, and it would then sold for $116,000, this piece of art, you know. So, and that was Heritage Auctions was a part of that, you know, so it must in the art world must be okay. It was right. It was all out in the open in an article on their website. So yeah, I mean, it's a very interesting debate. It's kind of weird that we haven't been talking about it until now, frankly. You know, I mean, it's just now becoming more of a conversation, at least and maybe on Blowout or something. They've been talking about this for years, probably. But, you know, I haven't seen it talked about as much on, you know, YouTube and so forth.
Yeah, and Judson was talking about first edition of Catcher in the Rye type of stuff. So
yeah, I don't know about, you know, old first edition books and stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll move on just because I don't think there's really a solution. I would just say that defining cleaning versus restoring versus altering and having that very clear based on every grading company would make it just a bit easier to understand. And then people might want to go with a certain grading company or respect a certain grading company more or less based on how they define it. But if not, it's just up to interpretation. Like altering is one thing, but there's just a lot of gray area if it's like, well, you know, I think this is cleaning. Well, that's not cleaning, that's improving, you know, that's altering, that's this. So anyway, beyond our scope of cards too, you know, and no one's caring about that with a Prism Silver, you know, actually just Prism base Kyler Murray. Okay. Skybox. Oh, did we? Damn, we talked about that already. I think. Are we out of topics?
I think we ran out of topics.
Dude, I think. Yeah, I think. Okay,
well,
so
we're at 52 minutes. I mean,
that's not bad. That's not bad. Yeah. Okay.
We can wrap up.
Okay. Yeah, I think we wrap it up, guys. I mean, I'm getting bit up by these mosquitoes, but solid conversation for a slow week. And now we have like 81 people on here, and they're like, "Oh man, now it's over." Yeah, it's kind of over. But I will say there's exciting things coming in the hobby based on a few conversations I've overheard, a couple things happening, even aside from Fanatics and all that. I'm still excited about football, and hopefully I get to start making videos again on a regular basis based on a business deal / proposal / collaboration that may or may not happen, but hoping it does.
All right, Brad.
Okay. That means
hopefully a good week ahead and good things coming.
Absolutely. And I don't have to pee this time, but I am getting bit up by these mosquitoes. So I'm going to go inside and then probably.
Yeah, we don't want you to get West Nile. Let's lock this thing down.
All right. Sounds good. All right, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Hit the like button because I think that helps somehow. And I will see y'all next week.
See you guys.